But we do want to circle back to what's going on in the oil space, even though we are down on the day here at around 112 bucks a barrel here. You're talking about Brent crude still higher by about 40% on a year-to-date basis and more than like 60% year over year. And when you go back to pre-pandemic times, there's something like 70, 80% higher than that. And that all leads us to Saudi Aramco, which is looking to cash in on that oil boom. Bloomberg has learned that leaders are considering an initial public offering of that trading arm that could have a valuation of more than $30 billion. Bloomberg's Simon Casey joining us right now to talk this over. And Simon, I guess it makes sense. I mean, they've been making money hand over fist, I would presume. Why not bring it to market?
Well, indeed. I mean, Saudi Aramco reported earnings, as you probably know, on Sunday. They reported, I think it was net income for the first quarter of $39.5 billion. So it's extraordinary. Last week, of course, Aramco also became officially the world's largest company by market capitalization, eclipsing Apple. So the timing is perfect from that point of view. And look, it's something of a black box, the trading business. Other companies have this, Shell, BP, they also have very successful big trading businesses, but they're like Aramco, it's hidden within this much larger company. So it's a bit of an unknown. From our story, we don't have a very precise valuation. It could be a few tens of billions of dollars valuation. We don't really know an awful lot about that.
I think Taylor has a question. She's actually out in Boston.
Simon, curious here, if you're thinking about timing, is this just an oil boom? What's the why behind the timing?
I think largely it is the oil boom, as you say. Look, I think the Saudi government is looking for any way that it could unlock further value. When the IPO happened a few years ago, it sort of we then went through the pandemic. We saw oil prices crash. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's only in the last year or so that the kingdom's finances are on a much more stable footing fiscally. It's great for them to have oil prices $80 and above. Right now, it's very much a sweet spot. So the question is for them, maybe how can they lock in a bit more of that value if they can break up that empire to a certain extent, but not sort of detract from that and try and sort of preserve some of that longer-term value.
And Simon, you mentioned that other big producers, they tend to keep the trading unit under wraps. Do you think that they could follow Aramco's lead here?
It's possible. I think if this actually happens, and we're still in a very preliminary stage, of course, if this actually happens, this goes ahead, people will be watching this IPO very closely. I mean, you have to think of, I mentioned Shell just there. Shell is under pressure from an activist investor down low to break up. Now, if this IPO of Aramco's is successful in the end, would that alter the plans or the demands there? Could we see Shell not just broken up into two, but maybe into three, into a trading business, a legacy oil business, and a gas and renewables business? That's potentially on the table.